In a galaxy filled with stars and countless worlds, a dark shadow began to spread. The hive mind, a vast and powerful collective intelligence, was on the rise. It was not just a single being, it was a network of minds linked together, sharing thoughts and plans. As the hive mind grew stronger, it absorbed entire civilizations, leaving only echoes of what once was. Fear gripped the hearts of many species, and the galaxy trembled at the thought of its might. On Earth, a group of human leaders gathered in a large meeting room. The walls were adorned with maps of the galaxy, and screens displayed news from various planets. Tension filled the air as the leaders discussed the growing threat. Admiral Sarah Mitchell, a seasoned military leader, stood at the front. Her expression was serious as she spoke. "We cannot ignore this any longer. The hive mind is taking over planets, and if we don't act, we may be next." Around the table, her colleagues nodded in agreement. Commander Alex Reyes, known for his sharp tactics, chimed in, "We need to find a way to stop them. If we go to war, we risk losing everything. We must think of a strategy that doesn't lead to bloodshed." As the discussion continued, the leaders shared stories of planets that had fallen to the hive mind. They spoke of species that had surrendered, their cultures erased and their people turned into mere drones, obedient to the hive mind's will. Each tale painted a grim picture of what could happen if humanity did not act quickly. Suddenly, the screen flickered to life, showing a message from the hive mind. The words echoed in a cold, metallic voice, sending chills down everyone's spine. "Submit to us or face annihilation. Your resistance is futile." The message ended abruptly, leaving a heavy silence in the room. Fear settled in as they realized the truth. If they did not act, the hive mind would consume them, just as it had done to others. "We have to come up with a plan," Admiral Mitchell said, breaking the silence. "If we want to save ourselves and our allies, we must negotiate with the hive mind. War will only bring destruction." Her words were met with mixed reactions. Some leaders were hesitant. "How can we trust a being that destroys entire worlds?" one asked. "What if they trick us into surrendering?" But others saw the wisdom in her approach. Commander Reyes stood up, his voice steady. "We don't have a choice. We either face them with our might or try to understand them. Diplomacy might be our only chance." After much debate, the leaders reached a decision. They would send a team of diplomats to negotiate with the hive mind. It was a risky move, but they knew it was better than waiting for their inevitable doom. As the meeting ended, the gravity of their decision weighed heavily on them. They prepared to send their best negotiators, knowing they might never return. The galaxy was filled with uncertainty, but humanity had chosen a path of courage. Meanwhile, far from Earth, the hive mind watched. Its countless eyes observed the humans' every move. It calculated and assessed, ready to respond. The hive mind felt no fear or hesitation. It believed it was destined to rule the galaxy. The fate of humanity hung in the balance, and only time would tell if they could negotiate peace or if they would fall like so many before them. In the coming days, the humans gathered their team, a mix of diplomats and experts preparing for the most important mission of their lives. They would face the hive mind, a being that embodied fear itself, and attempt to save their species from being absorbed into its cold, calculating collective. As they prepared, hope flickered in their hearts, even as doubt loomed over them. Would they be able to find common ground with an enemy that sought to erase their existence? The journey to the hive mind's domain was about to begin, and the galaxy held its breath. As the news of the hive mind's threats spread across Earth, fear turned into determination. Humans understood that they faced a powerful enemy, but they also knew they had something special, their unity. Leaders, scientists, and everyday citizens began to rally together, ready to fight for their home and their way of life. In a massive conference hall in the heart of a bustling city, representatives from every corner of Earth gathered. The atmosphere was charged with urgency. Admiral Sarah Mitchell stood at the front, looking over the faces of her fellow leaders. "We must show the galaxy that humanity stands together. We cannot let the hive mind tear us apart," she said, her voice strong and clear. The room erupted in discussion. Some leaders argued for a military response, suggesting they could gather their fleets and prepare for war. Others believed this would only lead to more destruction. Commander Alex Reyes raised his hand to quiet the crowd. "Listen, everyone. We have to consider all options. We are fighting against a collective intelligence that thinks differently than we do. If we attack, we might provoke them even more. We need to be smart about this." The crowd hushed and eyes turned toward Reyes. He continued, "What if we form a united front, not just among ourselves, but with other species? We have allies who are also threatened. If we can convince them to stand with us, we may have a chance." The idea sparked hope in the room. Leaders began to talk about reaching out to other planets and civilizations. They discussed how many species had also suffered at the hands of the hive mind. A plan started to take shape. Humanity would not face the hive mind alone. They would gather allies to form a coalition. Over the next few days, diplomats worked tirelessly to send messages to nearby planets, urging them to join the fight. They shared stories of the hive mind's destruction, reminding everyone that unity was their best weapon. Slowly, responses began to pour in. Many civilizations were hesitant, fearing the hive mind's wrath. But some were willing to listen, inspired by humanity's bravery. As the coalition grew, Admiral Mitchell and Commander Reyes prepared for their upcoming negotiations with the hive mind. They knew they needed to send a clear message: humanity was not afraid, and they would not back down. They held meetings with their newly formed allies, strategizing and sharing resources. On the day of their first coalition meeting, the atmosphere was electric. Leaders from various planets gathered in a large hall, exchanging ideas and forming bonds. The diversity of the group was astounding. Creatures with bright colors and different shapes mingled with humans, all united against a common threat. The sight filled Admiral Mitchell with hope. "This is our chance," she told the gathered leaders. "Together we can show the hive mind that we are strong. We must prove that we will fight for our freedom." As they discussed plans, the leaders began to realize that they all shared similar fears and dreams. They wanted peace, prosperity, and a future for their people. The hive mind threatened everything they held dear. This shared purpose strengthened their resolve. Meanwhile, the hive mind watched from afar. It sensed the growing unity among the species, and a cold calculation began. It had always believed in its dominance, but now it felt a shift in the galaxy. The hive mind calculated its next move, knowing that it needed to act before the coalition became too powerful. As the day approached for the human diplomats to meet the hive mind, excitement and anxiety filled the air. They prepared their best arguments for peace, hoping to appeal to whatever humanity remained within the hive mind's cold, collective heart. The coalition was ready, standing together against a common foe. Humans and their allies were united, determined to face the hive mind with courage and hope. As they prepared for the difficult journey ahead, they held tightly to the belief that unity could change the fate of the galaxy. With their hearts beating as one, they stepped into the unknown, ready to negotiate for their future. The day had finally arrived. The human diplomats, led by Admiral Sarah Mitchell and Commander Alex Reyes, prepared to meet the hive mind. They gathered in a sleek silver spaceship that would take them deep into the heart of the hive mind's territory. The atmosphere inside was tense, filled with a mix of excitement and fear. As the spaceship soared through the stars, the crew reviewed their plan. "Remember," Admiral Mitchell said, her voice steady, "we are here to negotiate peace. We must show strength, but also a willingness to understand." The team nodded, their expressions serious. They were aware of the risk. The hive mind was known for its ruthless nature. After what felt like hours, they approached a massive space station, the central hub of the hive mind. It was a dark and imposing structure, with countless tendrils extending into the depths of space. As their ship docked, a chill ran down the spines of the crew. They were entering the lair of their enemy. When they disembarked, the team was greeted by a strange sight. The hive mind was not a single being. It appeared as a collection of figures, each one a part of the larger whole. The beings moved in unison, their eyes glowing with an eerie light. Admiral Mitchell took a deep breath and stepped forward, flanked by Commander Reyes and the other diplomats. "Greetings, Hive Mind," she began, her voice firm yet respectful. "We have come to discuss peace between our people." The Hive Mind responded in a chilling chorus of voices. "Humans, your resistance is known. Why do you come? You are weak." The words stung, but Admiral Mitchell remained composed. "We are not here to fight. We seek to understand your goals and find a way for our species to coexist." A wave of silence swept over the room as the hive mind considered her words. "You wish to negotiate," it replied, curiosity evident in its tone. What do you offer? Commander Reyes stepped forward, sensing an opening. We offer you knowledge, culture, and trade. We believe that there is value in diversity. Together we can create a stronger galaxy. The hive mind paused, its glowing eyes narrowing. Value? You speak of things we do not understand. We consume to grow stronger. Why would we change? Admiral Mitchell took a step closer, her heart pounding. Because not all strength comes from assimilation. Humanity thrives on individuality. We create art, explore new ideas, and build connections. You could learn from us. As the negotiation continued, the hive mind probed the humans with questions. It pushed them to reveal their weaknesses and fears. The human team answered with honesty, sharing their stories and showing vulnerability. They spoke of their love for their families, their dreams for a peaceful future, and their desire to protect their home. Slowly, the hive mind seemed to soften. It was intrigued by the idea of creativity and connection, concepts it had never fully grasped. However, it was still cautious. You propose a partnership, yet you fear us. How can we trust you? Reyes took a deep breath, knowing this was a critical moment. Trust is built over time. We cannot change the past, but we can work together to shape the future. We want to protect our worlds, not destroy yours. We ask for the chance to prove our intentions. The hive mind hesitated, a flicker of uncertainty passing through its collective consciousness. The humans could sense the shift, but they knew they had to tread carefully. Very well, the hive mind finally said, its voice echoing through the chamber. We will consider your words, but know this, if you betray us, the consequences will be dire. Admiral Mitchell nodded, relief washing over her. We understand. We will prove ourselves worthy of this chance. As the meeting concluded, the human team left the hive mind's presence with a mixture of hope and caution. They had taken the first step toward peace, but the road ahead was still uncertain. Would the hive mind truly embrace their proposal, or was this just a temporary reprieve before the storm? As they boarded their ship, the crew exchanged glances. They had faced the hive mind and lived to tell the tale. Now, they could only wait and see if their words would lead to a brighter future for all. With determination in their hearts, they prepared for the journey ahead, ready to continue fighting for peace in a galaxy filled with uncertainty. As the days passed after the first negotiation with the hive mind, a sense of unease settled over the coalition. Admiral Sarah Mitchell and Commander Alex Reyes remained hopeful, but the air was thick with uncertainty. They awaited a response from the hive mind, a sign that their message of peace had been received. Meanwhile, the galaxy was not quiet. News spread quickly about the negotiations. Many species watched with bated breath, while others were skeptical. Some leaders argued that humans were naive to believe they could negotiate with such a ruthless entity. Others began to prepare for war, fearing that the hive mind might strike before humans could solidify their coalition. In the heart of the human command center, Admiral Mitchell gathered her team to discuss their next steps. We must remain vigilant, she said, looking at the faces of her allies. We've made progress, but we cannot afford to let our guard down. The hive mind may be plotting its next move even as we speak. Commander Reyes added, we should strengthen our defenses and stay ready for any potential attacks. Our allies need to know we are united and prepared. The others nodded in agreement, knowing that the threat was real and ever-present. The following day, as the humans and their allies worked to fortify their positions, a shocking report came through. A nearby planet, once peaceful and under the protection of the coalition, was attacked by a swarm of hive mind drones. The message was clear. The hive mind was still a danger, and it would not hesitate to assert its power. The news spread like wildfire, igniting fear and anger among the coalition members. How can they attack us after we sought peace? One leader shouted during an emergency meeting. This is proof that they cannot be trusted. Admiral Mitchell raised her hand, demanding silence. We need to stay calm. We must investigate and find out why this happened. There could be a misunderstanding or a faction within the hive mind that disagrees with the negotiations. But the room was filled with doubt and outrage. Many believed that the hive mind was too far gone, too consumed by its hunger for control. The pressure mounted as leaders argued about whether to retaliate or to stay the course. Retaliation could lead to war, Reyes cautioned. We must not act impulsively. Instead, let's send a message to the hive mind. We must demand an explanation for the attack. The leaders reluctantly agreed. A message was drafted outlining their concerns and asking for accountability. It was a difficult decision, but they hoped that it would prompt a response from the hive mind. As the coalition waited, tensions continued to rise. Members began to turn on each other, questioning the wisdom of trusting the hive mind. Some species withdrew from the coalition, afraid of the consequences of aligning with humanity. The dream of unity seemed to be slipping away. Then a response came from the hive mind, delivered in the same cold, mechanical voice they had heard before. The attack was necessary. One of our drones was damaged by your kind, and it was a message. Do not challenge us again. Admiral Mitchell felt her heart sink. The hive mind had not only failed to apologize, but had issued a threat. This is not what we wanted, she murmured, her voice filled with frustration. The coalition was divided. Some leaders called for immediate military action, arguing that it was time to show strength against the hive mind. Others, still hopeful for peace, urged restraint. We can't lose sight of our goal, Reyes said firmly during the heated debate. We have to stay true to our mission. If we attack now, we'll be giving up on everything we've worked for. But the calls for war grew louder. It seemed that the coalition was teetering on the edge of chaos. Each day brought new threats, new doubts, and a growing sense of impending conflict. As Admiral Mitchell and Reyes stood at the command center, they could feel the weight of the galaxy on their shoulders. They had to find a way to keep their coalition together, to keep the hope of peace alive even as the threat of war loomed large. Time was running out, and the hive mind's power was a constant reminder that the galaxy was a dangerous place. With the tension rising, they knew they had to act quickly. They had to find a solution before it was too late, or the galaxy would be plunged into darkness. The galaxy stood on the brink of war. Tensions were high among the coalition, and fear gripped the hearts of many species. Admiral Sarah Mitchell and Commander Alex Reyes knew they had to act quickly to prevent the situation from spiraling out of control. They were determined to find a way to negotiate peace with the hive mind, despite the recent attack and rising hostility. Admiral Mitchell called for an emergency meeting with the leaders of the coalition. We cannot let anger dictate our actions, she urged, looking around the room. If we want peace, we must be willing to take risks. We cannot give in to fear. Many leaders still felt the weight of the hive mind's threat, but some nodded in agreement. What do you propose? Asked a representative from a neighboring planet. We have already sent messages, but they only returned threats. We need to send a stronger signal, Reyes suggested. What if we organize a show of force? Not an attack, but a display of unity among our coalition? We can show the hive mind that we are prepared to defend ourselves, but we still seek a peaceful solution. After much debate, the leaders agreed to the plan. They decided to hold a joint demonstration of their fleets at a neutral location near the hive mind's territory. The sight of their united forces would send a powerful message, but they would also send a message of peace alongside it. In the days leading up to the demonstration, the coalition worked together, sharing resources and strategies. Humans trained alongside their allies, strengthening their bonds. There was a renewed sense of purpose, and slowly but surely, the coalition began to come together once more. Finally, the day of the demonstration arrived. Admiral Mitchell stood on the command deck of her flagship, watching as countless ships from different species gathered in formation. The array of colors and designs filled the starry expanse, a beautiful tapestry of unity against the dark backdrop of space. As the coalition's ships assembled, Mitchell's heart swelled with hope. Today, we show the hive mind that we are strong and united, she announced over the intercom. We are here to defend our homes, but we are also here to negotiate for peace. The fleet moved forward, approaching the outskirts of the hive mind's territory. The sight was both breathtaking and intimidating. As they reached the designated spot, the hive mind's massive space station loomed ahead, dark and silent. Just then, the voice of the hive mind echoed through the communication systems, cold and unwavering. You dare approach us with this display? You think your numbers will intimidate us? Admiral Mitchell took a deep breath, her determination unwavering. We are not here to threaten you, hive mind. We come in peace. We want to end this cycle of fear and conflict. We seek understanding and cooperation, not war. A moment of silence followed her words, and then the hive mind responded, You believe you can change our nature? You wish to negotiate with us? Yes, Reyes interjected, stepping forward. We believe in the power of diversity. We offer our knowledge, our creativity, and our willingness to work together. We want to show you that there is strength in cooperation, The hive mind paused, the silence stretching uncomfortably. The coalition held its breath, waiting for a response. Finally, the hive mind spoke again. "Your words are different from what we expected. Show us your intentions." With that, the coalition presented their plan for peace. They outlined how they could work together, share resources, and protect each other from future threats. They painted a picture of a galaxy where all species could coexist, each contributing their strengths. As the negotiations continued, something shifted within the hive mind. It began to consider the possibilities. Perhaps there was value in what the humans were saying. Perhaps coexistence was possible. After what felt like an eternity, the hive mind finally spoke. "We will agree to a truce. We will consider your offer of partnership. But know this, if you betray us, we will not hesitate to act." Relief washed over the coalition. They had achieved what many thought was impossible, a chance for peace. The leaders cheered, their spirits lifted by this new hope. Admiral Mitchell smiled, her heart swelling with pride for her team and allies. "Together, we can build a brighter future," she said, looking at the faces of those around her. As the coalition celebrated, the galaxy began to shift. The threat of war faded, replaced by the promise of unity. While challenges still lay ahead, the decision to seek peace over conflict had changed the course of their history. With newfound strength, the coalition stood together, ready to face whatever the future might bring. The stars above twinkled brightly, a reminder that together they could achieve anything.